annual Pan-Afrikan Symposium. Straight up, straightforward, and straight to the point. This year's theme is the state of Black America. What must be done and where do we go from here? 3 presentations, 1 progressive panel discussion. The Pan-Afrikan Symposium is an intellectually progressive, culturally centered, and solution-oriented conference. On an annual basis, the Pan-Afrikan Symposium will bring together some of the most sincere, committed, ideologically clear, and spiritually charged African scholars, elders, to present solutions to some of the many issues confronting African people. Although issues will be highlighted at the symposium, the primary focus and overall theme of the symposium will be solutions. Therefore, the Pan-Afrikan Symposium is proactive in that 1. It's an initiative launched with the express intent of empowering African people, and 2. It's instructive and corrective. Sunday, September 14th is our first Pan-Afrikan Symposium, which is geared towards reviving a modern-day Pan-African Council. This year, we're featuring 3 honorable panelists, Mwalimu Baruti, Oba T'Shaka, and Booker T. Coleman, who will each do a lecture geared towards their expertise. The lectures will be followed by a live performance, a free dinner catered by the chefs of PLM, and concluding with an interactive panel discussion. PLM is only allowing 100 tickets to be sold for the symposium, and the price is currently discounted at $50 a ticket, which will increase by September 1st. Attendees also receive a copy of the Pan-African Resolution, a booklet to be utilized as a plan of action and to be reviewed at the second Pan-Afrikan Symposium, where we intend to host a similar panel of warrior queen scholars to continue this restoration project. You don't want to miss this event. Don't be left out as we walk into history. Dr. Oba T'Shaka. Dr. T'Shaka is an activist scholar, renowned public speaker, professor, workshop leader, author, organizer, and visionary of exceptional influence who addresses audiences in the United States, Britain, France, and Africa. Dr. T'Shaka led the civil rights movement in San Francisco, which was a catalyst for the Black Power movement. For 38 years, Dr. T'Shaka was a professor at San Francisco State University, where he is now Professor Emeritus.
This was the first demonstration that I led. I became chair of CORE, Congress of Racial Equality, in 1963. This was a campaign for open housing to see that Black people could live anywhere they wanted to. Hit the next one. Going back to African American families in the United States, Fraser used this inaccurate historical data to conclude that our history and our culture was destroyed in the U.S. W.B. Du Bois was better. How many people have heard of Du Bois? He's the greatest scholar produced in this country. Philadelphia Negro, best research on sociology. Great scholar. And he did pioneering work. His conclusion was he thought that the African priesthood was the sole surviving African institution in America. He's not right. It wasn't the sole surviving, but it was a central one, a very important one, because on every plantation you had diviners. And contrary to popular belief, blacks did not embrace Christianity until 1856, that conversion to Christianity began. According to W.B. Du Bois, out of 8.9 million Africans in 1859, 465,000 were Christian. You hear that? The majority were African. They were practicing African traditional religion in various forms. Obeah people, diviners, people who would give you cures if you were in need of them. Many enslaved Africans lived to 123 years of age. My great-great aunt lived to 126 years of age. She just died a few years ago, 126 years. And she was able to tell us what part of Africa we came from, Madagascar.
Mwalimu Baruti. Mwalimu K. Bomani Baruti is the co-founder and co-director of Coleman Institute, an independent African-centered, full-time and after-school homeschooling and tutorial program for middle and high schoolers. Over the last half-decade, Brother Baruti has also taught various African-centered evening classes for adults at the Institute and online. Brother Baruti is the author of 18 self-published books. Recognized for his dedication to the community, he has been keynote speaker, guest lecturer, and moderator for numerous forums, programs, and activities in a number of places around the country and world.
Warrior's character. A warrior understands his enemy as well as himself, and the warrior also understands the enemy within. Menticide. There is no one here that doesn't have a piece of menticide somewhere hidden inside. I'm pretty good. That's it. I gave the example of like two years ago on Christmas, I'm in Kmart. It was near Christmas, and I'm rocking it, and I realized that I'm humming Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in my head. Okay? It's going, and I'm like, what? They are good. Socialization is a good, deep process. They know exactly what they're doing, and it gets connected. Every piece of your menticide is connected to another piece. So this is humongous connection, network, nexus of things that keep you menticidal. So maybe you let go of this, but then you go over here and it's gonna bring you back to that. So you're gonna spend the rest of your life fighting this, which of course is part of the goal of a warrior, to have it so that 2-3 generations down the road, they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about getting, because they got what was correct from the beginning. They got the African classics first, so they don't have to worry about getting rid of the European classics in order to read the African classics. So you have to know how bad you are. And I'm not talking about that bad good. I mean, talk about how corrupted you are, how compromised you are. Okay? And of course, the measurement of that for folks who really begin to feel bad about themselves, the question is not whether you're corrupted because you were socialized in Western society. The question is the degree to which you are working to get away from it. That should be our measure of progress.
Dr. Booker T. Coleman, Kaba Hiawatha Kamene, was born with the name Booker T. Coleman Jr. He is a teacher, consultant, administrator, staff developer, and curriculum writer. Dr. Coleman has been an educator in Bronx, New York since 1979. He is now a staff developer at the Harriet Tubman Charter School in Bronx, New York. Over Dr. Coleman's long career in education, he has consulted many boards of education, schools, community, parent, and student groups. He has visited many classrooms around the country and implemented successful strategies in the teaching and learning process. He is firmly dedicated to the belief that culture plays a vital role in education and proudly credits many of his academic views to his teacher, the world-renowned educator and professor, John Henrik Clarke.
And one of my jobs in the Board of Education, as I moved from being a classroom teacher to an administrator, was to study the curricula and to be an advisor on the New York City Board of Education curricula team. And so I'm very familiar with the curriculums of science and math and language arts and all the other areas that we teach, and everything has been blackwashed. There ain't nothing but white folk in it. It's been washed of its blackness. Ain't been whitewashed. It's been blackwashed. So science has everybody that has ever been of European descent, but nobody ever tells you it was the Moors that taught them. Everything that deals with language arts comes from English, which they say is a language. English is not a language. Because to have a language, as Dr. Ivan van Sertima taught us, in order to have a language, you must have a script. English has no script. Spanish has no script. German has no script. Italian has no script. Their script is the Latin script, and the Latin script is the Greek script, and there is no Greek script Because on a Rosetta Stone, that bottom part of that writing that they tell you is classical Greek is another African script that the Greeks adapted. So when we're writing our ABCs, we are writing an African script, but we don't know it.
The Pan-Afrikan Symposium is not about entertainment. It is not just an event to make people feel good, nor is it an information flaunting forum. The Pan-Afrikan Symposium is an extension of the Pan-Afrikan Day of Solidarity, which is a movement. At the core of the symposium is development and rectification. Therefore, the Pan-Afrikan Symposium is transformative in the sense that African people will be touched in ways that inspire productive change within the lives of African people. Thus, the Pan-Afrikan Symposium will serve as an experience wherein healthy socialization is promoted and fostered. It will be a consciousness-building experience. You do not want to miss this.